Captain Atom number 6, written by J.T. Kroll, art by Freddie E. Williams. The second, we left off last issue with Captain Atom fighting against the big slime flesh monster thing and discovering that it has the same sort of energy source as himself, and it absorbs energy much like him. This issue picks up where basically we get a recap of everything that's been going on, of how he's fighting this thing. It has that sense, and how also in the last issue, or actually the issue before, he essentially gave a radiation burn to Renita, his pretty much only friend, and put her in the hospital. So, not a lot of good things going on here, but Captain Atom, as he's facing down this monster, he connects with it on like a mental level, and he sees its entire past of back before he was experimented on for this, like, whatever it was, Captain Atom thing, the quantum field. They experimented on rats, and it seemed like it killed all the rats, but this particular rat survived. It didn't seem like he did, so they just put it in the incinerator and burned it alive, which it very much remembers. And ever since then, it's been just slowly growing and building up into the kaiju we see before us. And so he sees in the mind of it, and he's like, okay, if I can see into your mind, then can you see into my mind? But it doesn't seem like it's cognizant enough to realize whatever it is Captain Atom's trying to get it to realize. At that moment, some planes come in, start firing off missiles, and we see General Eiling is standing over across the ridge, and he's like, all right, keep firing everything you have at it. And one of the pilots is like, Captain Atom's in the way, but are you sure we should be shooting? And he's like, double points if you hit him. So they keep on blasting at it, and Captain Atom's trying to like stop the attacks because it's just going to keep absorbing the energy and making it stronger. But as he tries to talk to one of the pilots by like literally getting up inside of the cockpit, he's like, hey, it just keeps absorbing, stop shooting. And then something goes wrong with the sensors or whatever, and like control is ripped away from the pilots, so both pilots end up ejecting, punching out like right over top of this monster that just starts absorbing their planes into it. And he's like, okay, you guys don't want to land here. So he teleports both of them away over to where Eiling is. And Eiling's like, did you just bring down 2 of my planes? And he's like, look, you need to stop shooting at this thing. It just keeps on absorbing it. Also, please stop shooting at me. And he's like, I'll take it under advisement. And he's like, I can probably deal with this, but if you keep feeding it, it's going to get out of control for anybody. And he's like, fine, you have 5 minutes. Deal with it. So he flies over to the monster, and he's philosophically like, it kind of sucks you were a lab rat. Like, they just threw you away. Like, would it have mattered if you were, like, slightly more intelligent? If you were, like, a lab monkey or a rabbit? Like, where do we draw the line in terms of, I got treatment because I was human. I was allowed to live because of that. Why weren't you allowed to live? Regardless, he tries communicating with it, and he tries to like tell it like, look, I'm going to be forced to do this, but I'm trying to tell you to stop. But it can't parse that. It's not getting that. It's too hurt. It can't change its course. So he goes down on the atomic level. He stops letting like the neutrons absorb or something like that. And he just straight up just dissolves it. It just poofs out of existence. Not even so much of like an explosion, just a flash of light, and it's just gone like smoke. And everyone's looking on as he's like, I'm sorry, little guy. And Eiling is like, this may be the weakest Captain Atom is going to be. We can fire right now and possibly take him out. And one of the pilots comes up and was just like, he just saved everyone, and especially me, right out of the air. You cannot truly be talking about firing on him. And Eiling takes a second. He's like, all right, fine, cancel the bombs. So he cancels the nukes. But then he puts the pilots in quarantine because they were just saved by Captain Atom, so who knows what that means. So Atom shows up in Renita's hospital room. Dr. Magala recognizes his presence there. He can feel it. And he's like, you did do this. You did hurt Renita, but you also have the ability to undo it. And he's like, I can't do that. All she did was touch me and I did this. I can't make human skin. And he's like, you can. You turned a plane into a feather. Like, you can do anything. So Magawa walks him through the process of like all the different things that go into skin and like human muscle and stuff like that, how to get all the building blocks together. And one by one, she just recrafts Renita's hand, and she just wakes up, sees it, and just is so happy about it. They talk for a brief second before the other doctor, Scott, comes in and starts yelling about how Captain Adam's in there. But once he sees them embracing, he's like, all right, I can't really be here. So he takes off, and he's like, it sucks that I feel like such an outsider, that I feel like I can't be a part of the planet, but at least I matter to the people that I can help, At least I can matter in some way there. And he can take solace in that fact. And we just see pictures of, like, the people he's helped and the people that he's also hurt, and just different people that he's affected in his time here. And the whole time in this thing, I don't even know if I've ever brought this up, there's just a timer that's been going on. And it has been going up, it looks like, because like it starts on issue 1 at 250 somethings, and at this point we're on 297 somethings. So it looks like it's been going up, but then you flip the page. Oh, it's got a background of like a year, I think. I don't know, regardless. The year is like 6574, and then in 6594, the entire Earth is exploding. No caption boxes, no explanation, just as 20 years later, big boom, the Earth is gone. So I guess they're going to tie that in. Like, it's literally so jarring because it's just like, I may be alone, but at least I can take comfort in that. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Overall, I like this book. I would highly suggest, if you don't know anything about Captain Atom, I think this is a decent place to get into it. It's a much more heady book. It's got a lot of like philosophical, just stop and think sort of things. This definitely feels like less of a Captain Atom book in terms of like, oh, he's a military man, just following orders or whatever, and more of like, hey, what if we wrote a book about Dr. Manhattan, but like in the DC universe, but not the book they wrote about Captain Manhattan in the DC universe. It feels like that, and it's a solid read of just philosophical, like, how does God view people when he walks among them? I think that's the best way to really describe this book. And the art is fantastic throughout. I really do love Freddie Williams' art. So yeah, no, overall, I'm giving this one a 7. Just because in particularly, this wasn't one of the best issues on its own. But for capping off the arc, I think it did a fantastic job overall. And I am very much looking forward to seeing where we go with the next arc.